Greetings, I am Lies and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together.
Here we are, playing games, back in the carriage with Nadia, and Julian has turned himself in yesterday.
And we learned, and everything that was interesting about it happened off screen, over there.
Or at least, again, like my assumption is that it will probably be one of those conventions where they'll go back and fill you in on the stuff, or again, they're just going, it will forever be a mystery until we decide it's no longer a mystery.
Nope, they're gonna. I'm voting for backfill as well. That's
Yes.
what I'm hoping.
Nadia sighs and pulls the curtain aside. Not just the curtain.
Yes.
It's fine. Glancing out one of the carriage windows.
Who pulls a curtain aside? I don't know.
I know, it both
fine.
works, like, I don't know, it's just a thing.
Maybe
so
there is only one.
there could be. On one side, just one curtain.
Ah, we've arrived.
Arrived.
What a statement. What an announcement. Wait, you've come back to the... Oh, you were leaving the castle. I was
You
like, wait,
forgot.
you've come back to the castle? Hang on.
We slowly rolled to a stop as we reached the edge of the square. Because this is the speech, remember? My friend has forgotten the
Oh, God, I forgot about the damn speech. We need to tell everyone we caught the Julian.
even though everybody has already apparently figured it out.
Also...
Is that like... Okay, so I have to ask... Like, we were just playing another game, and there literally, like, something happened literally yesterday. Everybody in a culture that literally has really bad, basically, ability to transmit information compared to, like, modern day, knows instantly overnight.
I say, an entire culture.
Well, you know,
like,
the king almost died. I'm like, people still sometimes took anywhere from about 3 to 5 or a couple of weeks.
Yeah, like days or weeks to do this.
Like,
it was a thing.
it's okay. Like, and
Like, if you don't
good
have...
example, even in nowadays, and I will never put this story down because I am still baffled about it. When I was young, and 9/11 happened in the United States, so September 1st.
You didn't know about it.
I had no clue it happened for almost a year.
Yep.
I didn't know what was going on. Nobody talked about it. It didn't, like, I had no idea.
Yep.
I didn't really know what happened. So, there we are.
It's okay. I have to say that I learned Princess Diana was important because of her death.
Me too! My whole family was like, Princess Diana! When she died, and I was
went,
like, who? Like, I was like, what are you talking about? Why are you all really obsessed with this British lady?
And I was like, I don't get it. The whole world's gone mad, I guess.
I suppose.
Anyway, so yeah, also though I'm going, this doesn't make sense, and it doesn't sound correct, but I'm gonna make an announcement about it anyways. And I'm like, the only reason you're doing this announcement is because your ball has to happen because you've already scheduled it. Good thing he turned himself in now. Julian, out in the streets, reading the announcement of the ball, going, shit, upon my capture, she's gonna throw it. When it's in 2 days, I better get up there.
Oh, damn! All around us, I can hear the murmur of an anxious crowd, awaiting the Countess's proclamation.
Can you just imagine him out there being
a drama whore? No, he'd be a drama whore.
And then just being
he'd be like, oh, the stage is set! Motherfuckers, here I come! They will all be basking. Anyway, since I deserve to die and I should die, I'm gonna die in the most dramatic, whorish way possible! Yes! That just seems like him.
Perfect.
To me.
I also just like, that sounds amazing. If her just putting up, you know, there's everybody that's announced all this thing and he's hearing it, he's going, I'm just waiting. I'm gonna do it on the eve before.
I will.
It will be perfect.
I'll do it, it's amazing.
Just enough time for her to throw the ball and murder my whole ass.
The Countess's proclamation. Nadia looks wryly at me and reaches out to take my hand. I am a little confused because we're going to get out soon. Does she need comfort? What's going on?
The door is about to open, but it doesn't open because you don't have footmen.
She does need comfort.
Corazon, it has been quite some time since I addressed the public. Yeah, but according to, based on your memory, I need to know if you have any memories of addressing the public at all. Like, I know that you know logistically and functionally it's been a really long time since you've addressed the public. Because it's been at least 3 years, because you were asleep.
Yes.
And it might have been 6 years, because you don't remember whether or not you addressed them in that time.
Unless you're literally saying this is to be, I don't remember at least those 3 years, or, you know, the time that I was out, or I remember an instance when I addressed the public, and that was a while ago. Except that for you, if you have no memory, do you know that means that would have been like yesterday for you? I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't
Anyway.
like people logistically talking about how, like, functionally losing your memory. You're like, that time just doesn't exist. You don't have a I missed that time.
So I'm like, is she going to talk about the public's experience or her own? If it's her own experience, I might be lost. But if it's the public experience of they may not be receptive to me because they haven't heard from me in so long, kind of thing.
Right.
Anyway, since I addressed the public, frankly, I don't relish the thought of standing up there alone. The blush face. I assume it's nervous blush, but who does a nervous or worried blush? Who, I ask you?
Is it vulnerable, intimate,
Blush.
familiar? Let me blush with you.
I guess. If you would stand by my side, I believe it would set my heart at ease. Okay, so my bro.
Motherfucker.
Wait, this isn't even a regular choice?
What?
I assumed that would be a normal character choice.
That seems like a completely in-line supporting Nadia, connecting her to people, making her not feel so either lonely or isolated, or that she has to be an island, an experience. What?
That doesn't sound
Remember
like a
how we
premium
bitched, though,
option?
about a couple of Julian's premium choices? We went, why the hell was that a premium choice?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't... I no comprende. Anyway.
So, also, I'm just like, given who Corazon is, it might set her mind at ease, but I think it'd be bad for the audience.
Terrifying.
Goes up there. Normally, you have this weird set of strange courtiers with you somewhere and in your wake, I assume.
Right.
But
or you have guards.
Or you have guards, which is, kind of off-putting. Because I don't imagine Nadia, it wouldn't be appropriate for Nadia to generally go places alone.
No.
Completely alone.
Well, that's actually the thing that's been cracking me up the most about this.
I was like, that would be regular royalty. This is fantasy Arcana royalty. Maybe it would be. We really don't know how she travels. She doesn't seem to have any kind of, basically retinue of any kind. She doesn't seem to have any entourage.
Yeah, other than Portia. And Portia's not a guard.
No, I was going to say, but she does always have the driver of the carriage, whatever their position is.
Right.
Maybe they're a guard that drives the carriage? Question
I mean, as far as I know, there's typically some amount of, multitasking, but also, again, so one of the things to consider is that based on my understanding of, historical stuff, on average, you didn't necessarily always have you are taught explicitly in very, defined rules
no
and terms.
Uncertain terms.
Yeah, that is more of a modern day thing, because that was one of the big reasons why there was the Industrial Revolution, is because they really could finally go, here's manufacturing, here's breaking down the process and making stuff work, because you had to be very exact with what the hell was going on. Now, that's not to say that people didn't disseminate information to each other, but, the learning styles were different.
Well, I was going to say, having to have
and also
training,
the education styles, was
training
different.
in your workplaces was actually what sparked school.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what created organized school.
And we're talking about organized. Now, not to say that people didn't have schooling or private tutors, which was actually more common if you were wealthy, but also a lot of people spend a lot of time teaching each other things more than just an organized thing. So
I'm disappointed that this isn't a game choice, because I know that game choices affect which ending you get, and this feels like it really should, because that feels like a very strong character choice, not a, hey, this is cute and, and
fluffy.
And attachment. On the other hand, I would kind of just die to see, here's the crowd who hasn't seen their countess functionally for 3 freaking years, possibly more, and she's theoretically still been ruling the whole time, even though there's been assumably a regent in place. I was going to say, but she just shows up, and the first announcement she makes is going to be this experience, the first thing she says to the public at all. So we have not, I live in the city, I haven't seen my ruling body or my countess in 3 whole years. My count died and my countess disappeared. For 3 years I've seen and heard nothing. And then I start hearing rumors and whisperings and stuff like that from the castle, the countess is awake, or the countess exists and she's here, whatever way they spin that. And I see posters up that a huge ball is going to happen, and that they're going to, prosecute who, and that the Vesuvia's most wanted is going to be caught and prosecuted, kind of thing. And I'm just like, okay. And then the countess appears in the square for an announcement that apparently was announced yesterday, so who knows how many people actually know to be here.
Right.
I was gonna say, and what she says is going to be super important to me as a citizen if I care about politics and my ruling body at all.
And also going again, I haven't seen
my
her
city
in forever.
Yes, everyone there going, holy shit. So
okay. So the thing is that part of my brain is Corazon would totally do with it because Nadia has asked them to do it. There is, however, my brain is just I'm having a sort of probably meta problem of going can you fucking imagine we haven't seen Nadia in so long. Who is this weird-ass motherfucker? Because you have to also consider that your main character is also deeply unknown.
Yes.
Like, somehow, magically, even though Astor took us out and did all these things for us, he taught us how to ride, he taught us about the city, and yet we clearly fucking know nothing.
And people only seem to know us if they frequent the magic shop, or they're someone we buy from in the market.
Yes. That like, to me, like, visually, that seems like insanity. Well, I'm gonna put up this really weird, strange person and going, I haven't seen you, and who the fuck is that? Like, hi, we haven't seen you for a while, and now there's this wildly weird person, let alone if you're standing up there. Okay, so we do know that your main character basically died originally, so whoever they were originally is dead.
Yes.
So suddenly, if you have this person who really hasn't been seen in public for 3 years, who is now actually a different person, do you think that people in the crowd might go, hang on, is that Billy Bob Thornton? You know, and you'll be like, I'm not Billy Bob, I'm Corazon. Who the fuck, like... But again,
is that Corazon, you know, the whatever you used to do before?
Yeah. And you're like, what?
And you're like, no, I'm a magician's apprentice. And like, someone, a midlife crisis.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But also, like...
I'm like, so I'm having a weird character thing right now, going like, I feel like the character would do it because they were asked to by Nadia, but also in some level, Corazon would be disappointed by this. Because Nadia hasn't been able to connect with the people. She's still like, I need to show strength, blah, 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 whatever.
And she's still like...
And now she's going, and now I'm going to lean on you a lot. And it's like, but you also need to do things that I literally cannot do for you. And also, I have a certain expectation, even of what you're presenting yourself like.
Also, I'm just having this thing of going...
I'm sorry, we're spending so long on this, we should probably pause. But like, the dialogue is interesting to have about this.
For me, I'm just like, if you're thinking absolutely any MC standing with her, right? Like, so anyone who's ever played this game and has an MC in their head, right? Going, what you get is her walking out in front of the people with some unknown personage and then giving a speech. And the unknown personage is just with her, announced or unannounced or what. I'm very curious how this plays out. I think we should just go ahead and do it.
All right, well, we're going to have to pause it anyway because if we're going to do it...
we got to figure things out. We will be right back. You. Okay, so we know what we're supposed to do. Now, I said this one was going to be pretty small because it's pretty cheap. Let's give it a shot. Stand by her side?
We're going to stand by her side.
Yes.
I nod. Oh, shit, and I forgot since we're actually doing this.
Oh, sorry, to let everyone know.
I forgot.
Now that we're in the scene and you can see it, we are entering premium, like we were entering cover-up art territory.
Sorry, the reason we're a little bit disoriented is because we've done some research about this, and this scene is literally, so...
It's really short.
This is difficult to explain, but you'll see here in a minute, this is really short, plus it adds a little bit into the other stuff, so... this is awkward.
This is the only scene that I've seen where it actually changes something that's not premium after the premium scene.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. At any rate, you have entered cover-up art territory, and in accordance with our agreement with Nix Hydra, we are not going to be reading any of the dialogue, because that is all copyrighted to them, and you will not be seeing any of the things in this scene. We are going to describe them to you via, like, ad-libbing and using synonyms, etc.
Though honestly, you guys, okay, just so you know, the biggest thing you get out of this is you get to kiss Nadia.
She kisses you too.
Yeah, you get 2 kisses out of this.
Because we had to figure out where the scene ends.
So that's what we figured out.
So what happens is that Corazon does the head shake in agreement, and then holds onto Nadia a bit tighter.
Yep. Onto her fingers.
More enthusiastically.
Her palm.
The clutching that is going on clutches more.
And then, actually, the character in this case, because I'm most going to do this as a character perspective, because I'll talk to you about the scene later. I was annoyed about this one.
It doesn't sound like something Corazon would do at this point.
Nope, not even slightly.
Yep.
So, in this way, there is an agreement from the main character to go, yep, I will be with you.
I will be beside you.
As you request, basically.
And then Nadia just has a very, like... A sort of, an experience of,
probably
like...
parts her lips.
I was going to say, stress exiting her body. And
it shows up really strongly.
She relaxes.
In her eyeballs.
And I was going to say, and her face looks more joyful.
Yep.
And then she just says she really appreciates it. She shows her gratitude. She says her gratitude to
And then she
Corazon.
explains herself. She goes on to explain that she's like, well, I guess it's a little ridiculous, but, you know, she's like, I feel like things might be different if you're here with me. If you stay with me, I think things will
So
be different.
she has this idea that it won't go the same if there's someone on stage with her versus if they're not.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
And then she's a little, and then she centers herself,
And
she
just
closes her lids, taking a moment to herself, and also breathes very, very strongly, has strong breaths.
So she
strong,
does
heavy.
she does
Oh,
the
she does our breathing twitch.
inhale.
No.
She does the exhale.
She does our twitch redeem.
and Corazon.
No, the main character in here
So-
decides to lean forward.
You are using too many words, friend. You are too grumpy.
No, we're not. Stop it. It's because you keep interrupting me, and you keep then re-saying everything that I said that wasn't the same thing, so now I'm getting irritated.
It's fine. You can do it.
All right, so the character decides to go towards Nadia while she's doing this, and does the smoochy smooch, but very lightly.
But just barely.
Just a little, and then the character goes, it just like asserts that they have strong beliefs for Nadia's like abilities and powers, and she and then like she is assured by her main character that the people there, you need to understand that even though you have been desperately searching for approval from your siblings and everyone else in your life, everybody in a crowd, no honey, they'll adore you.
It will be okay.
It's okay. You'll get the doki dokis. It's
That
all right.
everyone here will think you are fabulous. And Nadia tries
Stammers.
to speak. There is a loss for words momentarily.
She flashes a lot.
And then, with red blushing and then also thinky thoughts, she agrees that the main character is correct, and that her opinion of herself and that her insecurities should not drive her actions, nor should they cause her to be anything less than capable.
Or to deviate.
Yes.
Yes.
They should not stop her in any way.
So Nadia also does more of the head maneuvering, but this more in the negative usually.
But a
sense.
disagreement kind of thing.
Yeah, she's sloughing something off with her head. And then she actually moves forward and kisses the main character back more distinctly, more instead of like
more
the mild
depth.
light fashion that your main character did to begin with. There's a much more distinctive, like, let me actually kiss you, instead of a whole little
instead of a just very gentle brushing, there is I will get hold of you and apply the smooches.
Yes.
And then she just,
but it is supposed to be a soft romantic, like, I'm gonna kiss you correctly, and it will happen, and we'll have a moment together.
See, and I understand those words differently, because when somebody does it correctly, and I'm using a synonym here for really, like, they're gonna do me right.
Well,
kind
I
of
can't
thing.
say that word,
Like
so
I
what
said,
would you use?
I was gonna say, like I said, they're gonna do me right, kind of thing.
I think that still isn't the same thing.
It's not.
I disagree. I'm talking to myself.
It's okay.
You.
The impression that I get is that is a thorough smooching, not gentle. Anyway, after which she concludes this face-sucking or possible romantic, gentle.
I think, again, it's supposed to be this, I've had this moment, I look at you, I will actually kiss you, and then I will have this moment where we sit here and we're having our moment, and then I will look up and go, you know what?
I'm prepared.
I'm prepared.
I have reached preparedness.
I have recentered myself. I am good.
So
the
Nadia
crystal has been smacked. the chakra is vibing.
Yes.
Oh, good. Let's go.
My chakras are in alignment.
Yes.
I shall. And then.
And of course, now everybody gets out of the carriage.
Yes.
And then it's specifically though with your
gripping onto
hands
each other.
clasp. Hands clasped together. And so we march out.
Yes. There is you're not in the carriage anymore.
And that is the end of the scene.
That is the whole premium scene.
All right. So if you can't tell, so I'm actually really annoyed about that. Like, I figured it would be small, but I didn't realize it would be that. Now, the thing is to be perfectly clear about this, because I was really like, what is going on here when I was trying to actually figure out where it ended. In the research that I was able to do, it looks like they're going to be adding other lines and they're going to sort of arrange things a little differently. But the thing is that it's literally alongside of the regular scene itself.
It's normal plot, yeah.
It's normal plot, so this is where we went, oh, it just ends here.
Yeah.
So you haven't missed much.
This is an interesting thing where when you don't choose the premium scene, according to Nix Hydra's record on their YouTube account, you get this exact same scene that we're about to see, except from the perspective of the crowd, and now you're going to get it from the perspective of the stage.
Except the funny thing is really...
Kind of.
Most of it is like, we sort of like added a line here, but a lot of the, like, based on what you were also looking at and what I was looking at with you, it's really just like we sort of added in, or we took out like maybe like a line or two here.
And so this is the only premium scene that I've seen that affects afterwards the non-premium content, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. A hush falls over the crowd as Nadia's presence is announced. But also before, I will have to admit, because we didn't do this amount of research like with Julian's when we picked a lot of stuff, because we were picking them usually like one to go, what the hell is going on, because we were confused.
Or because that's what nerd would be most likely to do.
Right? I mean, to begin with, we were sort of picking them to pick them, and then as it went on, so we didn't do the same kind of research, though, is what I'm saying. So, there was a lot of other stuff that I just was like, whoa. This is an interesting inclusion, and I don't think, like, there might have been one or two cases, I think, where there actually might have been one of Julian's scenes that was a little bit like, that's only the mild change that continues on very vaguely, like the small thread that vaguely changes through the remainder of the scene, and that's it.
See, and I learned more about Julian's premium scenes when I had to go back and edit them to comply with Nix Hydra.
Well, wasn't there like at least one of them?
I don't remember any of them carrying really well. I remember some of them being really awkward, where they didn't path very well if you didn't choose it,
right?
Or if you did, that kind of thing. But anyway, hush falls.
A hush falls over the crowd as Nadia's presence is announced. A retinue of guards slowly unfurl a long golden carpet in front of the door.
The carriage door.
Yep. Then they gather along the carpet's edge in two uniform lines. I love the fact that actually she does have a retinue. So my friend asked you a question and I was going, wait, she has a retinue? Okay.
Suddenly she does. The guards only seem to exist at all.
It's okay, they're props.
When they're functioning when they're doing like something, a big plot thing.
Props.
Yeah.
At carpet's edge in two uniform lines, separating us from the chattering crowd. Nadia holds her head high, striding confidently towards a stage set up in the front of the fountain.
Okay, so this is kind of extra, though, and I'm just picturing it. So the crowd's all been gathered to the square. They know they're going to see their countess that none of them have seen, except for that one bread seller,
right?
And the one, like gondolier kind of person, that none of them have seen in 3 years.
Well, and even then, that gondolier person... Guess what? They really weren't supposed to see her, so she changed her clothes.
I say neither them nor the bread seller were supposed to realize that Nadia was Nadia.
Honestly, though, I have to say that's like peak retail. Even if sometimes you recognize somebody, or if you don't recognize somebody, and the other person is freaking out, you're like, I don't care. This is my job. I hate my life.
You're like, it's fine.
Please.
I don't care. Michael Jackson himself could walk in and buy a toothbrush, and I would just sell it to him and say, here's your 10 cents change.
Thank you, Michael Jackson. Bye.
Bye. Yep. Bye. Anyway, so I just love the idea that the crowd is gathered here. Her carriage rolls up. Most of them have not seen her at all in 3 years, possibly longer. Who knows how often she makes. 3 years almost exactly. If they were invited to the masquerade that she was at 3 years ago. Or if they're common folk and didn't get invited for much longer, right? And so then the entire crowd gets pushed apart and split to roll out this carpet as these guards all appear and do this after they open the door. So, like, the crowd is all in place. Everyone's got their spots, and they're like, oh, and then there's this sort of like aggressive crowd shuffling as they roll out the carpet.
It was very thoughtless of them, basically.
I'm like,
we
that's
were prepared, and then we kicked all of you. Yeah,
that's kind of aggressive, honestly. The first way to enter the people. Anyway.
Also, though, I was actually going to say, since they didn't comment, I just was like, if Quarterzone was going to do that scene, that would be more like, I am going to touch you, but I'm not going to kiss you, and I'm just going to sort of be like, you can do this.
I will support you.
I will do the supportive thing. And if I need to basically, like, correct some of your costume, which is much, like, again, I care about what you look like. Because
and
that's
how you're presenting yourself.
And how you're presenting yourself. There would be that going on. There would not be I'm going to freaking kiss you.
It would be far more of a, put your shoulders back, lift your head high. You are powerful.
Drop your shoulders.
Lift your head high. And think murder.
And walk thinking murder.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. In front of the fountain, all eyes turns towards us as Nadia takes a breath and begins to speak.
Okay. The eyes weren't on you when you were walking down the golden carpet after everyone got pushed out of the way?
Where literally both of you guys are walking out hand in hand. Also, that wouldn't happen either. Quarterzone is not going to hold hands with Nadia while walking down here, by the way.
That sounds bizarre. That also sounds like a really weird way to return to your people. Vesuvia, it has been some time since I have walked among you. Too long, in fact. But today marks the beginning of a new era. a time of prosperity and progress for our city. Tap. There we are. I have heard your pleas, Vesuvia. The days of inequality, of your voices going unheard, are now over. Makes announcement. Absolutely everyone is invited to the ball, uniformly, even you over there in the gutter.
Absolutely everyone is a princess!
It's in Ever After. I invited the gypsies to the ball.
I know that was
the quoted
quote.
line. I apologize.
That's okay.
That is the historically quoted line from that movie.
Yes, which is not a... I just was like, whoo!
I apologize for the language use. It is dated.
Yes.
Yes.
And it is inappropriate.
And they also weren't Romany.
Except that they were...
Kind of.
Yeah, they kind of were. The thing is that they were. Like, that's what that term means. Like,
no, but like the actors weren't.
No, I know
so
that.
they weren't.
Yeah, I know. But that's the thing.
What they meant is...
Sometimes, friend, it's called blackface. Like, sometimes, friend, it's called we're playing somebody else. Yeah, it happens a lot.
I just thought they were supposed to be white, wandering, homeless people when I watched it. But I was young, so... Anyway.
I'm like... That's called a lack of education. I don't know what to tell you.
Your voices going unheard are now over. I believe together we can create a bright future for our beloved city, a future in which every heart overflows with joy. A future where the shadow of death no longer hangs over our heads. Because what I assume all of you care about most, and what I assume is the biggest deal in the city and that is causing everyone to be unhappy, is that the murderer for your count hasn't been caught, and so the shadow of death is hanging over your heads. Because it's
Julian is quite the murderer, don't you?
I was going to say, it's not the poverty, it's not the infrastructure issues, it's not the sinking city, it's not the fact that they haven't had their actual leaders for 3 years, it's that you haven't had justice for your count.
And also that you haven't had a voice
the count
for 3
that you
years.
Also hated.
Anyway,
as far
keep
as
going.
I know. All right.
She pauses and squeezes my hand a little tighter. That's not happening. We're not holding hands. I can't tell if she's trembling slightly.
Because we're not holding hands.
We're not holding... I'm noticing possibly that if she is actually trembling, she's probably trembling.
Do you imagine how weird this would be, though, too? I'm gonna dig this in the scene a little bit more. Imagine you are a townsperson, again, and you haven't seen your countess in 3+ years, and your town is going to shit. You know, part of it's sinking, there's a lot of poverty.
There was just a giant fucking plague a few years ago, and you still haven't recovered.
As well as you lost your primary leadership, and, you know...
And also, as far as we could tell, he's supposed to have been, or at least was, a giant fucking tyrant who murdered and tortured people for his own entertainment, even though it sounds like all he had was the Colosseum.
Anyway, at any rate, so you're in this crowd. You've been told your countess is going to appear, so you get up really early, you get ready, you go to the crowd, and you get there. You get a really nice spot for where the carriage is supposed to arrive, and then you get shoved out of the way as a carpet gets rolled, you know, and all the guards are there. And then when she walks up, and then she gets out of the carriage with this really strange person holding onto their hand, walks up to the, like podium or whatever it is, the stage, turns to face all of you, holding on to this other person who just stoically looks out of the crowd with her, explains nothing about who they are, what she's doing, or why she's there, and is like, we haven't spoken! Equality for all! Like, that would be super weird as a citizen.
No, I say, this setup for this to begin with sounded weird as fuck.
Also, like, if you're trying to connect to your people, showing up with a complete unknown beside you that you're holding on to, and you don't explain or talk about them at all, sounds really weird. A way to distance you more. Not connect you more.
It also, in some ways, might get people going, what the hell is that person doing up there?
What is
important about
What
them?
is our countess doing? Is this a presentation sometimes? Also, like, depending on who you are, does she have a child? Is this an adoptee? Is this a faraway royal? Like, what is the deal?
Is this going to be a murderer?
Is this the murderer? Right here. Right? I'm holding on to them. I've got them.
Right? There's any number of things.
Okay, not trembling.
Not trembling. The adrenaline of being in front of so many people. And yet I feel sheltered with her body next to mine. I appreciate that your main character is deeply insecure. Corazon is not.
Corazon's fine.
Corazon is fine. Corazon doesn't need to feel sheltered. Corazon is fine. Corazon likes to be left alone. It doesn't like necessarily all the people looking, but also going, I have costume to be looked at. This is fine.
I knew what we were doing today. I dressed for it.
I have done it. As if no fear can touch my heart in her presence. It's fine, honey.
Yeah.
She hired me, not the other way around.
Last night, Dr. Julian Dvorak was arrested for the murder of Count Lucio. I'm also like, you're like, this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't come together. I have evidence to the contrary, and this is not solved in any way, but I'm going to walk out there and tell everyone we've got him for this. Why?
I mean, that is how charges are laid out. They go, even if you didn't do it, this is what you were arrested for, is this particular trial. So there's a thing I was watching, so there's a fun channel you guys can all go check out. It's called The Legal Eagle. And he is a lovely individual. I mean, he's an actual lawyer, and he talks about basically how, like, on his most recent video, at least that I have seen, where he talks about basically specific cases, basically world-renowned cases that blew up, but also were greatly aggravated and misrepresented by the press, and talking about how language was really important, and that the reason why some things come out in a certain way, that's not actually what's going on, and he kind of breaks down some of the steps. And I think in this case, it's like, yeah, you're arrested for that thing, but it doesn't mean you've done that thing. Okay. But a lot of people, especially in the United States, go, oh, if you were arrested for this thing, that means you've done this thing, because we cannot imagine, well, why else would you get arrested? Huh? It's like that question of where people are going, if you have nothing to hide, why would you ever deny the police the ability to search your home?
Right.
Regardless of, and the thing is so there was another video that I watched where somebody was actually breaking that down, of going like, why some people might actually not want to work together with the police, even if they've not done anything wrong. And they can really just be as basic as, hi, I don't like people going through my shit.
Yeah.
And it also could be, I don't believe in this institution, I don't want to support you. I don't care that I haven't done anything wrong. I don't want you here.
It could also
But a lot of people go, but you can't do that. And that happens a lot, actually, in a lot of the way we do, like, social interactions or politics. To go, but if you won't, play along with the yes or no, this really strong dichotomy that I give you, then
you're unacceptable.
You're unacceptable.
Yeah, I was to say, it can also be because people have, like, a lot of collectibles or delicate things or areas they don't want disturbed. And if you say, yes, the police
somebody in my home is chronically ill, you can't come in here, you'll make them sick.
You'll make them, much more sick, or have an episode. Yes.
Yeah, like, or they have an immunosuppressive deficiency of some kind. But that's the thing to keep in mind. Like, I've always found that to be really funny, is like, and they talk about how that's why a lot of, like, academic or lawyerly kind of language gets really weird, because it is meant to try to leave you with no room for nuance, because it's not just that he was arrested, but it's arrested in reference, and then they usually have a big, huge, long descriptor
things,
underneath it. But anyway, we are out of time.
We are.
So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also share our videos if you're having a good time with us. Please also feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi and our Patreon. We have some links in the description down below. And if you would like to spend more time with us, please feel free to go check us out on Twitch. Yes. We do actually do live streams, and we would love to see you there. And you can also redeem a breathe.
A breathe
for Nadia. So she can breathe again.
It's true.
But other than that, I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!